You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Well, power man, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. Apologies for that very confusing entrance. That's what happens when you choose the wrong move. Technology, folks, I love it. But today, we have an awesome guest. He is a director. He is a producer. He is a comic book writer. He has a very polarizing book coming out called Polarized, no pun intended. The one, the only, the very awesome Tom Mishra. How you doing, boy?
What up? What up? How we doing?
Yeah. Brooklyn
Let's
in the
go.
building, son.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He Brooklyn. He know what's popping. How you doing?
I live in Brooklyn. I don't want to come off as like a poser. I'm from Long Island.
Sorry. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
We're an honorary borough, kind of, maybe.
Kinda.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thanks for coming out today to chit chat because you got this dope new book that's out now, folks. Available at your favorite shop, retailer. And if it's not, then you better ask for it. It's called Polarized. Got a little PowerPoint we're going to be showing a little bit later on. So you can go through some of the pages in the story and whatnot. Before we do all that, you know how it goes with Comic Crusaders Podcast. We need to get an origin story. So Tom, tell us a bit about yourself, like your OG from, and what was your first love in fandom?
Oh man, I was obsessed with those like Frank Miller comic books. I actually have like the special edition over here still. Like I keep it with me, like the leather bound. You get Batman Year One.
Yes.
Wait, I'll bring it here. One sec.
Folks, that was a book that 13th Crusader. That's how he showed me the Frank Miller book. Yeah, it was his pride and joy.
This is like holy Bible, you know.
Yes.
Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One. Read it start to finish a bunch of times. 300. Got into Alan Moore, V for Vendetta, Watchmen, and then more recently, I've actually been getting into like less superhero stuff. I just read Persepolis, which was awesome. It's a comic book Killing and Dying by Adrian Tomine, and what gave me the inspiration to do Polarized as a comic book was The Alcoholic by Jonathan Ames. Like it was a really like beautiful human like story, complicated story about someone dealing with alcoholism. And I was like, oh shit. I met a storyboard artist and I was like, I should try to do Polarized as a comic book. That's probably that was one of my first loves as a creative. And let me try to put my own spin on it.
Well, that's nice. Awesome.
But yeah.
So let me ask,
What's up?
So did you have a tribe growing up that was, with you in your fandom?
No.
Yes, or were you alone?
That was solo dolo. There was one kid in middle school who was really into like collecting comic books with me, and he actually contributed early on to the Kickstarter that we did, and he read it and he loved the book, and that honestly meant a lot because I was like, we used to do this together. This is cool. But like my brother used to fucking make fun of me for reading comic books, still does. But it's an awesome medium. It's a really cool.
Your brother will make fun of you until this becomes some sort of TV pilot or film somewhere.
Exactly.
And then it's gonna be like, oh shit, can I have a role in it? And then like, no, you laughed at me, bro. You know what? Maybe every time my shoelaces for a year.
Listen, I would be happy if we could just do a second volume. That's like if we can get a big enough readership, or we could, it makes sense to do a second one. I would be happy. But yeah.
So talk about your journey before we start getting into this book. You're dying to sell this book. I know, man. Book. We're gonna talk about it, but it's about the journey, man. So talk about then your creative journey. How did you start getting into the game? What were your early inspirations and that made you want to get creative?
I've been making short films with friends forever. Went to college for film. When I was in film school, I kind of realized that when I graduate, I might be an assistant for 20 years before I get to make anything. And I saw a couple of friends who went into advertising and they were directing and producing right out of college. So I went that route, and I still kind of, my full-time job is commercial directing and producing.
Okay,
And
cool.
it's been I really learned how to come up with an idea and collaborate with really awesome artists, just doing commercials. And one thing that would happen is when you make an ad, you always storyboard it. And I meet these really amazing storyboard artists, Alex being one of them. And I was always writing stuff on the side. And I've always been writing scripts since like middle school. I actually, the first script I wrote was a comic book. It was a superhero origin story. The first project I did at NYU was they make you do a radio drama, and that was also a superhero story that I came up with a friend. And so I've just always been writing. And then during COVID, I wrote this script, Polarized, and I just loved it. And I was getting all this really great feedback from studio execs that I would meet, and they would be like, "It's great, but it's way too political. It's never going to get made, but it's really good." Like people really enjoyed reading it, and I was like, "All right, I'm on to something." And Alex, I just hit him up. He was a storyboard artist I knew, and I was like, "Yo, would you ever want to do a comic book?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." We had like one meeting. He shows up with like 20 books of references and influences, and he's like, "This guy can be Rex. This is how we can do Rex Pennington. This is how we can do Olive Stryker." All these different ideas, and then it just became a really awesome collaborative experience. And now, anytime I do a commercial, I almost mandate that Alex Liu gets brought on to do the storyboards, because he's such an amazing visual mind.
I just want to answer, Stu. We're gonna get into that in
Yeah.
a minute, but the book is available now, Stu. And let me tell you, it's fire. Like if you're into this is not superhero. This is some like on some political spectrum, but it written so well, down the middle, but seeing both views. But we're gonna get into that. So talk about me and Alex though. How did you even hook up? Because that's pretty cool. So how did you meet? What was the bromance story there?
There was a cinematographer that I work with named Niraj Jain, who's awesome. And he had read the script and he was like, "Dude, this is really fucking cool." And so he was like, "You got to make this." And I was like, "I don't know how to make it." Like if the script, if you made it as a feature film, would cost $40 to $50 million, which I don't have. And I was like,
You
"Do you know
don't?
any?"
Come on, man.
I
That's
wish
on
I
your
did.
comics.
Exactly. And he said, "I know a storyboard artist." So he introduced me and Alex, and I sent him an email with a PDF of the script. And I'm like, "I want to make this as a comic book. Would you ever want to do this as a comic book?" And then we got coffee, and he just showed up, and he thumbed a bunch of stuff. He came up with all this reference art, and we just really clicked. He got the humor. He understood like. So many people read the script, and if they leaned right, they'd be like, "Oh, I loved it, but you're really hard on conservatives." And if they leaned left, they'd be like, "Oh, I loved it, but you're really hard on liberals." And to me, that's never what this was about. It was romance. And I kind of look at this as nothing to do with politics. It's a romance story in the world of greed and grifting and politics. And it's how do you find love when you profit off hate? And he got all of that. And we just started working together from there. We decided to do the first 20 pages of the script as issue 1, and we would take that and try to send it to publishers. And then we did it, and we loved it so much, we were like, let's just do the first half of the script. So what you read is actually just the first half of what I wrote.
I know. You left me on a darn cliffhanger because I'm here like, oh snap! Like here I am reading, folks. It's like over 100 pages of comics, right? It's a beautiful thing, and I tore through it like an animal. Let me tell you, you know what? Enough, because you know what? And you see, just like but even Stewie gave you more credit. He thought you had billions in the reserves, to get it done. You know what I mean? And he's also an ex-Marine, and he loves good story. And right, Tom. I mean, he's gonna love this then if you love story.
Yeah, well, we're on Amazon. That's currently the only place that you can buy it. I've reached out to a couple of bookstores. I get ghosted. I'm actually curious from your end, because you've built this big readership. Honestly, is like, how do I find an audience for this thing?
You got it. appear on these podcasts,
Yeah.
reach out to the comic sites that aren't, biased. I'm
Yeah.
an unbiased site. I'm not here or there. I'm dead center of everything. I don't give a shit. Just I'm here to just to share good stories,
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted. That's what I did here. I saw this. I was like, yo, this is awesome. I got to read the book. I was like, oh wow, what a great read. And this is why I'm here. Again, you guys decide. They ain't up to me. I'm old
Yeah.
school media. I'm pre-law that we're gonna talk about that change because I'm about being fair in the middle. As it is. I ain't leaning one way or the other. You know what I mean? If you want
Mhm.
my opinion, that's one thing. If you want the facts, that's another thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Uh,
And look at this. Oh my God, just with the cover alone.
yeah. So
Who did this cover? Where did this idea came from? Because
this
my
was
God.
this was Alex. No, so Alex was like, "What do you think the
And
cover
it's
should
also
be?"
flip for the other guys, right?
Yeah, and I was like, "I don't know. I think it should be a donkey fucking an elephant." And I don't know if you can see. So the original idea, the original cover was just like a blue donkey and a red elephant fucking each other, and it was really clean, and it was just on white, really simple. And then Alex, as we were, and if you read the volume, I don't know if you saw, like each issue continues the story, right? So it's the first issue is a donkey fucking elephant. The second issue is like the elephant's now pregnant with a donkey elephant hybrid, and we've wrote like 5 more iterations of that. If
Oh,
we make a second volume, I like that'll be there. And then Alex just like one day was like, dude, we should, when we put out volume 1, it should be $1 bill because it's all about greed and grifting. And he just came up with this really fucking crazy cover that
I love it.
is in the format of $1 bill. And it's amazing. And when you actually pick up the book, like we printed out maybe 10 different proofs of different textures because we wanted the cover to feel like $1 bill. So
Oh,
when you
nice.
actually hold the cover, it's the goal. Because I love about a comic book is like a movie. You sit in your chair and you watch it and you experience it that way. But in a book, you read the words and you imagine the images. But a
Right.
comic book, you hold that thing in your hand, you're feeling the textures of the cover, you're feeling the textures of the character. And so it was really important to us that our cover was like fit the kind of theme of the book. So that's all Alex. He's a fucking genius.
Does it smell like money?
I wish. Hey, you know what? Actually, if you get a hot like when we first printed them, it did kind of smell. Like I had that
Hey.
hot off the presses smell. You know?
And look at the art and getting introduced to the characters of our story.
Yeah.
Talk about this world building. Who are the characters here?
Yeah. So here we have our 2 main characters, Rex Pennington and Olive Stryker. They just had like a chance meeting at this thing called Politicon. It's like big rally, and they're just going at it this whole time. There's no love. They're just screaming at each other, not listening. And here, Rex offers up an invitation to his suite that Olive could not get because Rex got it before her. And they do the classic line, "We're going to disagree and have a beer together." And yeah, what pages do you? I'm curious, like what? So after
I
this,
got this stuff.
yeah.
This stuff.
So then this
That
is
one.
them at a party. They're waiting for each other to text. It's like you met someone on a night out. You had like amazing chemistry, and then you can't wait for that text to go and meet up and get that
And,
booty call,
and
right?
you notice the background so subtle, but you understand what side who is on just based on the
Exactly.
background. It's like, oh, okay, you can see who's who.
Thank you for calling that out because yeah, we did a couple versions of the background. It was really yeah. So Olive is the number 1 liberal news anchor, and Rex is the number 1 conservative anchor. Yeah. So that's what
I
this
dug
slide
that.
is yeah. And so then this is the fun stuff. This is their night of hate sex. This is where their true selves come, and they're both kind of in the heat of the moment, admitting to the lies that they tell on camera readily to orgasm. It makes them come. The lying, they love it so much.
That's so
Um,
dirty.
yeah, exactly. And, that's kind of the joke there. So, you know, Olive, the liberal anchor, doesn't like globalization and wants less regulations. And meanwhile, Rex is admitting that he loves illegal immigrants and his whole
Yeah,
garden
yeah,
is
yeah.
employed by them.
Do
And
you know how many times I laughed during this book? Because your humor, yo, is incredible. I was dying, yo. Several
thank you.
pages made me laugh out
Yeah,
loud. Because again, I don't give a shit about this. I'm old school, man. I'm just reading this for the fun of it, and it's like, oh man, this is fantastic. Because I have the privilege of being socially active all the time and being on the social medias and seeing what's going on. And again, I chuckle, and then it's like you brought this shit to life in such a fun way through this comic, man. Thank you. I can't
thank
wait till people get their hands on this. It's like if they have not heard, they are so missing out.
thank you, man. I appreciate that because it's yeah, it's we have a small but passionate readership. People who have read it are like it's funny, and the goal with this was never to push a political agenda. The goal with this was like, all right, we
It's a
live
love
in a
story.
exactly. It's about people who profit off hate looking for love. Do they deserve to love? Do they deserve to have love when their job is to actively divide, spread
I
fear and
say
anger?
thee nay, but love is love, I guess.
Yeah. And they love too. And the people that they connect with the most are the people as good of lying as they are, right? There's no one as good
Polar
as like
opposites.
it's
Yeah.
lonely at the top. So and we were just finding that it's as the joke I've been making is as our nation spirals towards civil war, I saw the fundamentals of a rom-com. And that's what this is it's a rom-com about two fucking assholes who we all know and we all hate, and they're making our lives hard. So that's what this is. I don't think. I mean, I have my own politics. I don't think it's like I don't care to preach them. I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of like our reality is becoming absurd and surreal by the day. And
Hell
as a
yeah.
writer, I just wanted to explore that. You know.
And thank you for exploring it and exploring it in a fun way and not giving this shit, no holds barred. I mean, because this page alone, I was chuckling at the shit that was saying. I'm like, oh my God,
Thank
these
you.
people. I mean, look at, I'm Wepa, just right there. I mean, that is, there you go for you lies out there. If you want to climax to the core, social media people,
I'll
just
check
say
any of
those
my
words.
sources. Yeah. So here is continuation of the night of hate sex. And again, she Olive, the liberal, says, Democrats just give empty gestures. They have no intention of ending income or racial inequality. Rex finally admits he doesn't even like guns that much. And as they both climax, they scream out, neither of them check their sources. Which is probably true. I bet you if you I've had some people who work in news read this and they were like, it was a little too real for me. So
Oh.
yeah, a little gossip there.
Well,
Um,
Jinche, there you go. You heard it
yeah,
here, folks. I'm telling you. You see, it is what it is. I've met a lot of people also that have worked with me and some kind of the same things. A lot of this shit is just, you know, you gotta gaslight people. It sells. And
it's
unfortunately, good news doesn't sell. Negativity does.
unfortunately exactly. And we were just trying to find the humor in that their job is to take the things that we are most sensitive about it and find the take that's gonna push us furthest emotionally, and that's their job. And so I was hoping that this would change the way people watch the news. Is the corporate news media, their job is to make money. Their job is to get ratings, to sell ads, and to push the agendas of the politicians that bankroll it. And we just hope that when you read this, you'll be able to find the humor in that. I guess. Yeah.
Oh, they definitely will be finding
Did
the
you? Al,
humor.
did you have a favorite joke, like a favorite?
I love the whole book, man.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, just- it was just something that just had me hooked. I love the story because I'm a story man, just like Stu
Mm-hmm.
is. So just the whole narration again, seeing this division, seeing these people that hate each other, and just seeing how the fuck they're connecting all of a sudden. and then living this whole lie. I mean, there was even this shit that homie was talking about the Challenger, and he watching it.
Yeah.
I was watching it too
Oh,
that
really?
day. I remember that day
Oh, no
myself.
way.
I was home from school and I'm watching this shit on live TV as it exploded. And let me tell you, when the other one exploded, I was also watching it on live TV. Since it was January, I thought, hey, this must be the anniversary. And then it says, oh my God, it exploded. I said, what the fuck? Who the fuck watches the explosion twice in their lifetime on live TV?
That's crazy. Yeah.
I
Wow,
got
I'm
freaked
jealous.
out the second time around, but that first time, like, yeah, I freaked out. I said, "Mommy, I think they died." What the hell? I remember, yo, that shit scared the shit out of me, bro. And then how the school reacted. It was a very somber day.
Yeah. Wow.
Very. I
That's
remember.
yeah, that section was a lot of fun for us to write because Alex was just pulling from all these different references and influences. We really
It's a great one.
changed. We moved away from the style of the first two issues. Like the first two issues was like blue and red color scheme, you know, a little cartoon, not too cartoonish. And then the third issue, we really tried to find the emotion of the romance and really have that bleed into the art and make it this like metaphorical hike through their lives when they really, you know, in the script when they have that kiss.
Yeah.
In the script I wrote, you know, that at this point they've had a lot of sex, but this is their first kiss. That was my like, you know, we really wanted to build to this. We had a lot of fun. We made a lot of jokes, made a lot of dark jokes, especially in issue 2 with the shooting.
Yeah.
But with issue 3, we want to like, you know, like, hey, this is a romance. We wanted to build to a romantic moment.
Yeah, a romantic moment, and man, this shit get crazy within the book because obviously things happen that's going to cause probably even more drama in their world. And you know, that's why I got so mad. Like, oh my God, how long do I have to wait for the other half, Tom? Why are you messing with me this way?
I mean, that's a great question. I'll happily send you the script for the second issue. And you know, I would love the feedback on it. Unfortunately, we just haven't sold enough copies where it is worth.
Come on, guys,
doing a second issue. I mean, second volume is. I'm curious, Al, in your field, like how many people like what is the challenge that we've been finding is just finding an audience for this.
Stu, listen, my boy Stu got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Stu, 6 Element of Hip Hop is his show. We're going to help spread word. You know what I mean? And there you go. Even Grandmaster UV. I'm Indian Tell, baby. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So we're on Amazon. You gotta search Polarized the comic book, because when you search Polarized, you get sunglasses. Which was unfortunate use of SEO, which shows how little we know what we're doing when it comes to self-publishing. I mean, that's the problem, is it's just me and Alex, right? We don't have a publisher.
You don't?
No,
my God, ASAP Imagination, you gotta help Tom. Let's
please,
go.
Yeah.
Or Ray Cross Press, let's go.
If you know, in your line of work, if you know any publishers that are looking for some funny material, like please put us in touch, because I very badly want to do a second volume with Alex. We finally, on that third issue, really figured out what we're doing. And it's a big bummer. We did this big Kickstarter campaign. We got like 210 backers. And I kept thinking, like, we're going to explode. And people who read it love it. And for some reason, I think there's like a weird, people who are into comic books aren't necessarily into political satire. And people who are into political satire aren't necessarily into comic books. I think the political nature might be pushing readers away from it, but like shouldn't. It's funny. It's silly. If you like comedy, if you like romance, you're going to find a lot of elements in this book that you'll love. And people who have read it love it. And I can't tell you how much it means that you loved this, because I fucking know that you are OG comic book reader.
I love it. That's what I'm saying. But me, see, I've always been, out of my whole group of friends, that dude that loves the independent, that loves the indie, that loves the different, not just a superhero. I was much more diverse in my taste. So when I read this, I was like, oh man, love it. again outside the superhero genre and a typical comic book, and delving in, what's going on now, but doing it again in such a split down the middle type of way. You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah.
favoring one side or the other. It's a
No.
wonderful fucking story. I mean, that's the way you effing do it, yo.
And
That's the way you do it.
dude, I mean, it was what, and I say this not to sell the book or anything, but the second volume is so much funnier than the first. We really, look at Kit Buffalo and the White Tigers and his fatwa and all that stuff, and we really get into that crazy stuff, and it's so much funnier. So, Al, you can spread the word to your people. If you know any comic book stores that want to get us in there, we have no circulation right now.
Well, we're gonna talk. You in
Yeah.
Brooklyn, we're gonna talk. There's comic book shops everywhere. You gotta get your feet underground. That's my advice. You gotta take copies of those books. You gotta, visit in Greenpoint Action City Comics. There's also another one on Callier Street that you gotta go to, right 2, 3, 4 blocks away from Action City Comics. There's another shop that supports indie, and that's right there in good old Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Alone. Oh, then you also have Desert Island Comics in Williamsburg that supports independent, and this book is actually right up their alley because they support indie predominantly, specifically, this type of slice of life, political genre, fun, humor. This is, oh my God, bro. Can I put you? And I just, while you were talking there, I actually just contacted my boy. I let him know that he should follow you immediately and contact you to talk about this wonderful book. If you're looking
sick.
for
Yeah. I mean,
I'm already taking care of you, bro. Yeah, that's where he gets it, bro. Electromagnetic propulsion, built BS. He goes, ha ha ha.
I need that. Al, I'd love to get your comic book store recommendations. We
Rubber Chicken in Massachusetts. Let's get you in Mass. Mass would love this book too.
Yeah, I actually was in Arkansas for a chicken pot pie commercial that I directed, and I gave a book to all the local crew because I was like, I want to get out of my New York bubble and get your guys' thoughts. But it's an uphill battle, but I'm gonna start reaching out to these comic books. Alex and I, we went to, when we were doing the Kickstarter, Comic-Con was going on at the Javits Center. So how they have like I voted stickers. We printed out all these stickers that said I vote blue, but I fuck red too, and I vote red, but I fuck blue too. And we handed them out. They had QR codes to contribute to the Kickstarter. I think we handed out like over 100. I think we got like 10 backers maybe. We keep thinking of these like creative we keep thinking of these like creative marketing, because I work in advertising, so I'm having fun.
So hit the cons, but you got to hit Terrific Con in Connecticut that's coming up. You got to hit, Rhode Island Comic Con, Connecticut Comic Con. You got to hit all Contropolis, whatever they're calling it this year. There's so many different little small conventions you can hit up. You got to hit the Big Apple Comic Con as well. I think the next one is going to be around the fall now. There's so many, bro. You got to push. There's publishers there as well. In these shows. So yeah, brother, I think you have such a wonderful product. It's a shame that publishers are afraid here in the States, but who I hit you's not from the States. So that, homie has cojones to put it out there for you. Don't
Al, to be honest, we haven't even really reached out to publishers.
What are you doing, Tom?
I don't have contacts. I don't have a lit agent. I don't have any of that. Like, we just made this. So like I don't even know. Because the thing is, I get intimidated. I'm like, I'm gonna send to a publisher. They're gonna look at it 2 years from now.
After this show, we gotta. You know what? We're gonna work. We're gonna work, brother.
Please, we're gonna stay in touch because
you're gonna work.
We need our champion. In the community. Like, we don't have anyone in the comic community who's
how dare they?
You gotta fucking read this. Like, we got Kickstarter project we love, but Kickstarter, the community never, like the indie Kickstarters, who never embraced us. Like.
They're just too afraid of the theme. They see that cover art and they're like, especially if they see this cover, he's skewed one way. Folks, no.
I know.
Do not. This is literally one of those. Do not judge a book by its cover, because when you read it, I swear, Al Mega ain't political, folks. My old comic book says no effing fucking, but this is just straight down the middle. Because again, this is not political. Yes, it has a political theme. but it is a love story and a wacky one at that, with a lot of fucking drama going on. So this is why it's a fun book.
Thank
Please
you, man.
don't think that it's politically based, mi gente. For real, it's a wonderfully written, down the middle, rom com out the ass that just happens to be politically based.
It's because it's the politics is purely environment. It's like I keep
Yeah.
telling people, it's purely environment. This is a love story, and it's a very hilarious
It
love
is
story.
funny, especially when you think about how the times are now, and how people are so going against one another, and imagine complete polar opposites messing around and then shit going off the rails even further.
It happens. People who have read it, things go in the news and they text me, go, "This is fucking straight out of Polarized." This
Yeah.
is straight out of Polarized. So yeah, and like it's like volume 2 is like I would say like volume 1 is like we're at level 5.
Nice.
Volume 2 we go up to level 20. Like
Oh,
we really like push it.
Hey, stop it! You're killing me, folks. You better goddamn buy volume 1 because I really need to.
I'll send you the script.
Please, bro. I gotta read. I gotta know what happens here. You fucking with me.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the podcast, Al?
My friend, for this Comic Crusaders podcast, you are my 317th guest.
Oh wow!
Overall, I've produced with my Undercover Case family over 1,200 podcasts.
Fuck yeah!
So I've been in the game.
You're doing it.
No one knows about this Latino in the business, doing this much stuff, because I just keep my shit quiet and let the work speak for itself and be able to speak to amazingly talented people like yourself. I'm the one that's blessed, because I keep learning and again and learning about new things. And this book again, what was that? Talk about, wait, before you even go, we need to talk about the opening of that book, about that law that you said that changed, because that shit blew my effing mind. Because I was like, wow. Yeah. Now, it's like you cannot believe media, folks. Just listen to what about Tom is about to tell you. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not
it's just what it is, and I'm not saying you're an expert, but you just put this law into the attention.
There used to be but the FCC used to have a doctrine called the Fairness Doctrine, which FCC is kind of the ruling regulator over U.S. news channels and U.S. media,
communications, and all that.
Yeah. And if any journalist put out an opinion, they had to then put out a opposing opinion to keep things fair-sided. And on top of that, there's other things where it's like the news couldn't be subjective; it had to be objective. It had to be boring. Like it had to be quiet. It wasn't supposed to be sensational. 1987 was pretty much completely gutted, and since then, if you like CNN, I think started a little bit before, Fox started a little bit after, but those types of companies didn't exist in the 50s and 60s when it was like Ed Murrow and who's the guy who
Cronkite and all
Cronkite, yeah, he's like John F. Kennedy died. Today, I think about this often. If JFK died, the news would be insane about it. Like, like the
conspiracy theories out the ass. We'd be going to war tomorrow.
not only that, but like just like how CNN would cover it, how Fox would cover it, it would be crazy. It would be absolutely chaos. And I guess the Trump arrest is kind of a similar thing, right? It's like if you watch, one thing I love to do whenever like there's a big news thing is I'll put on Fox or ABC or CNN, and then I'll just keep flipping through the channels like every 10 minutes just to see how they're all saying something completely different. Like we're living in completely different realities right now.
Well, you know what? Maybe TV is the multiverse. That's what we're seeing through TV. The actual multiverse is being transmitted with those different views. And
it kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like they're like. I mean, when I was just in Arkansas, it felt like people had a completely different, not necessarily values. I think like I made so many good friends when we were in Arkansas. It was so fun. But the information that they're getting is so different than the information that we're getting. That we are kind of living in a weird multiverse, and that's the business model of it. So it's like I don't have the answers. I'm not smart enough to have the answers. I'm an idiot. So because I'm an idiot, I'm able just to find the humor in it, but point it out because I just think there's a big arrogance right now, or
Yes.
there will be a big thing that happens, and then people will read half of 3 articles, a tweet, and an interview on their news channel of preference, and then they'll act like they're an expert. And whoever disagrees with them is an idiot. And not only an idiot, they're a Nazi, and they're bad for the country, and they're an existential threat to a democracy. And it's like that is really terrifying. Where that that business model is going to take us. And like, one of my big influences is Dr. Strangelove. And it would appear that he's terrified of nuclear holocaust, like a nuclear holocaust. Like that seems to be the inspiration for the movie. But he doesn't let the fear dictate the tone of the script. The tone of the script is like, let's laugh at it. Because like you said in the beginning of this, we have no control. So just focus on things that you can control. And that's kind of the overall theme of the story. Because as issue 1 is about, it's the meet cute. I mean, volume 1, sorry, is like the meet cute. It's the world as it is. It's a world that the characters own. But eventually, this crazy system that they created turns on them, and it turns on the country, and they have to live with the consequences. And we hint at it in those last 4 or 5 pages of volume 1 with the podcasters and the Twitter strike and
and that was funny too, because when they were at a point in the career, it's like, oh man, what am I gonna do? Become a podcaster now? I'm like, wow, what an insult, you motherfucker! What are you trying to say?
No.
I'm only playing, not you, the character. Not
no,
you.
but you bring up a really good point, because and one of the things I want to do with the script is it's not just the big TV news networks. They're kind of like, the top of the food pyramid. But like they kind of dictate the narratives that each political aisle is going to take. But then like, Tucker Carlson will say one thing, and then there'll be like 25 right-wing news channels and podcasters that will take it so much farther and angrier and violent. And
they
radical.
read into every letter of it. They break it down by acronym. Every letter.
And then it goes from the news, the TV news, to the podcast, to the tweets and the comments, and it just trickles down. And it's not just the thing on the right; it's also on the left and the corporate left.
Look at that. Let's call that. We gotta call that. Let's call that trickle down socionomics.
Yeah, but so that's kind of the point of that. Those final pages is it's just taking an honest look at how radicalization starts. And how it's seeping its way to the top, and when the top gets radicalized, the entities below it just get pushed further and further and further, and there's going to be a point where the people who are pushing the levers want to stop, but they've already created too many monsters. And that's like, so that's what volume 2 is about. It's crazy.
Hopefully we're gonna get that, folks, and I'm gonna try to connect to as many people as I can to help you spread the message of this awesome and wonderful book, folks. This is how easy it is. You gotta follow Tom right here, Tom Mishra, on his socials. He a boss. He everywhere. It's Tom, all right. As he said, I have the link. I'll add the link below for you to pick up the book at Amazon and spread the word amongst your friends. Tom, any last words before we go today?
Please buy our book. Read it with an open mind. Write us a review on Amazon, or write us a review on your blog. Get the word out for this thing that we created. Support indie creators. If you are a comic book store or you know a comic book store, get them in touch with us. I very badly want to make a second volume. I don't even care about making money. I just want there to be a readership where it's worth it for me to put the money into it. So, because I think,
let's make it happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Al, for having me. This was so fun.
Brother, you rock, bro.
It's cool talking to an OG, someone who's like been in the world for a minute. and get it's
thank you.
extremely validating, honestly, that you like.
Thank you. He sees the way here, folks. Yeah. Don't let that fool you.
No,
it's not
you know your shit, man. You know your shit.
I've been around for a minute for sure, and and thank you. So I'm saying I enjoy this. I found every piece of humor in it. Nothing in this book is offensive, folks. And if you find this offensive, then you just don't have a funny bone in your body.
Because
it's absolutely fun to read, and and again, I can't wait for volume 2 because he left me on the hell of a fucking cliffhanger. That's good writing when they leave you wanting for more. So that's the way they do it. Of course, when you're from Brooklyn, that's how you do, baby. All right, he definitely got influenced by Brooklyn right there. All right, so definitely support the book, Tom. Thank you for your time. Mi gente, support comiccrusaders.com. Support the channel. All you gotta do is subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when we're going live. We have a whole family of shows going on, whether you love Marvel, DC, indie, or just chit chat with amazing creators like Tom. We got you. All right. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Thank you, Tom. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.